Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Fuller. As chair of the board, I welcome you to this February 1st, 2022 regular meeting of the Washtenaw County Board of Road Commissioners. Our communications manager, Emily Kaiser, will now describe how our meetings operate, how to access the agenda packet, and how people may participate remotely. Emily.
Thanks, Commissioner. So there are multiple ways to participate and make public comment during today's meeting, whether you're joining us in person or virtually. If you're here in person and would like to make public comment, please fill out the sign-in sheet. If you're joining us virtually, we ask that you raise your hand at the appropriate time in the agenda. If you're joining us virtually, the chat feature on the Zoom meeting is available only in technical support for users on their computer or smartphone. If you are experiencing technical issues with audio or video during the meeting, please submit a comment in the chat feature and I will help you troubleshoot. If you're a staff member experiencing issues, please contact the IT help desk for assistance. The audio and video of this meeting is being recorded. A link to the video recording will be posted to wcroads.org in the coming days. There are printed copies of today's meeting agenda on the table here, and it's also posted to wcroads.org. There's a link available in the chat if you're joining us from your computer or smartphone. Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you, Emily. I now call this meeting to order and ask Aaron to call the roll.
Chair Barb Fuller.
Present.
Vice Chair Rod Green.
Present.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Present.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Here.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum.
Present.
Managing Director Cheryl Siddle.
Here.
Director of Engineering and County Highway Engineer Matt McDonough.
Here.
Director of Operations Jim Harmon.
Present.
And Director of Finance and IT Dan Ackerman.
Here.
Thank you, Aaron. I would now ask everyone to please join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented, please? So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Is there discussion? Any changes, additions, deletions? Seeing none. Aaron, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The agenda is approved unanimously. Next on our agenda, we have acceptance of 3 sets of minutes. May I please have a motion to accept the board meeting minutes of January 18th, 2022 as presented, appearing on pages 4 through 12 of the board packet.
Madam Chair, I move the acceptance, of the minutes of board meetings, meeting minutes of January 18th, 2022 as presented.
Support. Thank you. Any changes, corrections? Seeing none. Aaron, if you would call the roll, please.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The minutes of January 18th, 2022 are unanimously accepted. May I now have a motion to accept the closed session minutes of January 18th, 2022. These were sent separately to the board. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I motion that we accept the closed session minutes of January 18th, 2022.
I support.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any corrections, changes? Seeing none. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller.
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. And lastly, may I have a motion to accept the working session minutes of January 18th, 2022 as presented, appearing on pages 13 and 14 of the packet.
Certainly.
Second, please.
Support.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any changes, corrections, additions, deletions? Seeing none, Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The working session minutes of January 18th, 2022 are unanimously accepted. Next on our agenda is public comment. This is the time set aside on the agenda to receive comments from the public. This is not intended to be a period for dialogue. Each person will be allotted 3 minutes to address the board. Emily will explain how people may be recognized to offer comments. Emily?
Thanks, Commissioner. So since this is a hybrid meeting with both in-person and virtual attendees, we'll take turns between those attending in person and virtually. For virtual attendees, we ask that you raise your hand now. If you're viewing the meeting on your computer, first make sure to click Join Audio. You can then raise your hand by clicking the Participants or Reactions button at the bottom of your screen and then the Raise Hands button. If you dial into the meeting from your touch-tone phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9 now. I will unmute virtual participants with raised hands one at a time. I will announce your username or the last 4 digits of your phone number when it's your turn to speak. For in-person attendees, we will start with those of you who have signed in on the sign-in sheet as you walked in. If you didn't sign in, you'll still be welcome to make comment. We'll notify you when it's your turn. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to share their comments. At this time, Commissioner, we don't have any raised hands or anyone who has signed in.
Thank you. We will move on to written communications, which appear on pages 15 through 18 of the packet. Are there any items that commissioners wish to draw our attention to or remark about?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner McCollum.
Yes, I would like to thank our Managing Director, Cheryl Siddall, for the communication that she sent to those involved with the US 12 project, in clearly explaining the role and putting the helpful information of people to contact if they have any questions.
I'd also like to join in that. I thought it was a very good letter. They helped me clarify the roles in that the township and the road commission. That's very helpful.
Thank you, Commissioner Green. I would like to draw our attention to the State of Michigan memo that went to Alan Squire from Joanna Johnson. Just to remind people, Joanna has been a very active member of the County Road Association. She's currently the Kalamazoo County Road Commission Managing Director, and she chairs the Michigan Transportation Asset Management Council, which relates to the Michigan Transportation Infrastructure Office, I believe. So Joanna is a very active member, and we're really proud to call her one of our own, one of the other female managing directors in this state of road commissions and departments. If there are no further comments, we will move on. Since there was no public comment, we need not address that item on our agenda. We will move to new business, our consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented, 1 through 8, appearing background on pages 19 through 26 of the packet.
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Any comments or discussion? Seeing none, Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The consent agenda is approved unanimously. Next item on our agenda is an action item. May I have a motion to nominate a person for the CRA Board of Directors?
Certainly you may. I gotta turn the page to make sure I'm.
I think the resolution is on page 27.
20. Yes. Oh, I didn't mark that down. It is. And I'll propose The board hereby votes for Brad Lamberg, singular, to serve on the CRA Board of Directors on behalf of the Association of Southern Michigan County Road Agencies for a 3-year term.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Anything further on that action item? Seeing none, Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The action item is approved unanimously. Next item on the agenda is reports. Let's start with our county commissioners. Chair of the board, Sue Schenk, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would. I have a couple of updates. First, really, I want to thank everybody at the Washtenaw County Road Commission in advance for all of the work that I anticipate people will be doing over the next 72 or so hours. Really appreciate it on behalf of the community that you're going to be out there keeping our roads safe or staying inside, keeping our roads safe and making it as safe as possible for us to travel. And then I also wanted to let you know that I am on the Transportation Coordinating Committee for Semcog, and I was just appointed vice chair of that committee. I'd like to be as useful to our community as possible in that role, and so I am interested in your input if you have things you want me to know, say. And then the Transportation Coordinating Committee is conducting a safety task force. So this is for transportation all around Southeast Michigan, and they're looking for input. It's kind of an ad hoc committee, so I think the commitment that you put in is whatever you're able to. And what I probably might be the best thing for me to do is to pass along the contact information in the chat in case anybody from the Road Commission would like to participate. And that's all I have for right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Schenk. Is Commissioner Sanders with us today?
She was not going to be able to come. Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out. We'll move on now to report of the road commissioners. Commissioner Yamas, if you would start us off.
On January 18th, 2022, I watched the WCRC board meeting and reviewed what I couldn't catch on that day. I also reviewed and read Ed Loyola's CRA legislative updates of 121 and 128. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Green.
I have no report. Thank you.
Commissioner McCollum.
Yes, on January 24th, I took the Michigan DNR and WCCD Forestry Program Survey for Ypsilanti Township to assist the community in identifying strengths, challenges, and opportunities to enhance and protect trees and forests. The survey is available on the Ypsilanti Township website, and it aims to identify how trees could best serve the residents of Ypsilanti Township. Also, on January 24th, I attended a Ypsilanti Opportunity meeting with Coy Vaughn of Washtenaw County Parks and Rec to discuss transportation opportunities for residents on the eastern part of the county who have transportation obstacles to get to many places and activities that the Parks and Rec have to offer. And that's my report.
Thank you. Commissioner Doug Fuller.
No report.
Thank you. I will report that on January 24th, 2022, I had a telephone conversation with Keith Szymanski of Plant Moran regarding the upcoming audit for the Washtenaw County Road Commission. At this point, I would like to hear from our managing director and the staff reports. All of that background begins on page 70 and runs through page 83 of our packet. Managing Director Sybil.
Good afternoon. A couple of things. First of all, it's nice to hear that Commissioner Schenk will be a representative to the Transportation Coordinating Committee with Semcog. I believe it is our next working session in 2 weeks that we will have Ryan Buck from Watts join us to talk about the transportation planning process. So I know that Commissioner Schenk does the best that she can with her very busy schedule, but if at all possible, if she could join us, I think that that will be very helpful, and she can see sort of from our perspective how that process seems to be working. And certainly we have a lot of interest in roadside safety, and I know that Brent Schlack with our organization has been very, very active in those committees as well. So if there's any opportunity for feedback or any additional information that Commissioner Schenk would like, we would be more than happy to assist and to provide feedback or comments as she's learning that process better as well. So I offer that up.
That working session will be a hybrid session as well, will it not?
Correct. Just like the board meeting today, it'll be on February 15th at 9 a.m. and Ryan should be with us. He would be the first on the agenda. We try to have our guest speakers join us first thing. So it should be at 9 o'clock on the 15th. So 2 weeks from today.
Excellent.
Yep. Just two other things real quick. The other one is that last Thursday, Jim Harmon and I were able to attend the Township Supervisors meeting. We are just so pleased that that group is getting back together. That has always been just a useful forum for us since we work with our township partners so closely. Sometimes it's just simply the ease of the fact that we don't have to say the same thing 20 different times. And then sometimes it's to be able to have a dialogue with them. And last Thursday, we talked about a whole variety of topics. But afterwards, Jim and I were talking about just how important it was, and there were 8 township supervisors that were present, but just how important it was to hear the various viewpoints in that forum, because we are such a diverse county, and because the different township supervisors have different priorities, whether they're urban or they're rural or they're well-funded or not so well-funded. It's just really important to have that dialogue and for them to hear each other with the priorities and the different concerns or advocating for certain things. So we were very appreciative. It was just, like I said, it was sort of an introductory session with them getting back together and with us. We gave a sneak preview of some of the things to come with the local road program. We certainly answered questions that they had about some upcoming projects. They were quite interested in our chip sealing operation, which of course we're more than happy to show off whenever we can, all the different things that we've been doing with that. So it was just, again, a really good forum. We were very appreciative of the fact that we were invited. We closed with the fact that we would be more than happy to come back again. And one other thing with that is also that they did reference the fact that the Michigan Township Association has received information that the American Recovery Plan Act funds, the ARPA funds, or whatever they're being called these days, that road work is now eligible as a government service. So exactly. So there was already some questions that were asked with respect to that, and certainly we are more than happy to help them spend their ARPA money if that's where they choose to spend it. So, so it was again a very good conversation with them. We were very pleased to have been able to attend. Yes.
So if a township has a question about these new guidelines with ARPA money, do we have a point person here? Is there someone federally?
For now, I would like to remain the point person,
Okay.
and certainly as we develop projects, we'll figure out whether or not it would remain me or it would be a staff person closer to the project. We do have some homework of our own to have to figure out on that, which is, I think, exactly where you were going with the question, which is, okay, these are federal dollars, and we are very good at spending federal dollars. But we usually need to understand what the rules of engagement are. So is there paperwork that we need to fill out for them because they will be the recipient of these dollars? Or are there restrictions? We work very closely with some of our township on the community development block grant programs, CDBG funds. And so again, there's just a whole set of rules that you have to follow in order to spend those monies. And we want to make sure that if we're going to be working side by side with the townships on spending those monies, that we're spending them correctly. So we do have some questions of our own, but we're more than happy to jump in and figure out what that means. Whether if it's contract work, it may be one set of rules. If it's direct force work, which a lot of the work that we do with our townships is direct force, it may be a different set of rules. So we just need to understand that.
And did the townships indicate they've already decided how they're going to spend their ARPA allocations, or they're still wondering.
It looks like there's still the opportunity. The money does not need to be spent until 2024, so there definitely is time. It looks like at least one of the townships already has an idea with respect to a potential project. Others, their ears were perking up and it looked like they were starting to just think, oh, okay, maybe now that this has been deemed an eligible expense, that may be an opportunity, and they were going to start down that path.
Do we know yet if it's only federal aid eligible roads for which these funds may be used?
I don't believe that is the case, but again, those are some of the things
Okay.
that we need to confirm on their behalf.
Right.
Sorry about that. We are recording again. Okay, we are good to resume. Sorry about that.
Commissioner Yamas, did your thought come back? No. All right.
All right,
Commissioner
well,
Green.
I am more than happy. This is obviously going to be an ongoing dialogue that is taking place with respect to townships, and as we learn again what exactly is eligible, what we have to do in order to spend the money. So if you have any questions, thoughts, any of that, I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunity, and always feel free to give me a call.
And I would hope we can offer whatever support the townships need for all of these federal reporting requirements, which often the townships are not prepared to manage. Correct. Quick before she forgets.
So do you have a list of the people, the townships that were there?
I do. There was 8 off the top of my head. It was a nice sort of collection of urban and rural. I will do my best to list 8, and I probably will forget somebody. But we had, let's see, Ken Schwartz was there, Larry Lindeman was there, Pam Burns was there, Jan Godak was there, Will Hathaway was there, Chuck Tellis was there, Diane O'Connell was there. All right, Jim, feel free to jump in. That was 7.
Peter Sarathakis was there.
Was there, so thank you. Correct, but hopefully, I mean, again, it still was it was a very good group that was there, and we're hopeful that if we come back again, we'll continue to meet, whether it's the same 8 or we have different representatives. It was a good conversation.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Green.
And I'm assuming as well that the allocation for federal funding varies from township to township based upon the existence of,
There was a
Okay,
distribution
primary roads.
formula. Yeah, there was a distribution formula that was established by the feds with respect to the ARPA funds. So again, we had nothing to do with any of that. There's a table out there that indicates each of the townships, and it varies quite dramatically. I know some of our smaller rural townships, it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I believe Ypsilanti Township was all the way up to over $8 million in ARPA funds. So it varies dramatically based on, I know population is at least a part of the formula, but I think there was other factors that were taken into consideration as well.
thank you.
All set? Okay.
Okay. The other thing I was just going to share briefly in my report before I hand it over to staff is that I did yesterday also attend virtually the Ann Arbor Ypsilanti Chamber lunch event. The Representative Dingle was the speaker, and she did a very nice job as always doing a State of the District address. So I thoroughly enjoyed hearing her presentation. She did reference the fact that with the redistricting, District 12 will now include all of Washtenaw County. So my intent is to just reach out to her and suggest if she's at all interested in learning about the rest of Washtenaw County, because she's obviously represented a portion of Washtenaw County for quite some time. But there's a lot of Washtenaw County that's very different from the area that she has represented to date. So I will make that offer to her and see if she's interested at all in learning about our more rural parts of our county as well.
And I think the new congressional district number is 6.
6.
It's
Okay.
not 12
All right.
next year. It's 6.
All right.
And on the ballot, it will be 6.
Good to know. Good to know. Thank you for that. So if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them before I turn it over to staff.
Looks like we're good.
All right, first up on our agenda is Mr. Harmon. As you can imagine, he might have a thing or two on his plate right now. Jim?
Thanks, Cheryl. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. It's my pleasure to speak to you this afternoon. The operation staff report for the period of January 10th through January 23rd can be found in your packet, beginning on page 71 and ending on page 75. I'll pause for any questions that you might have about that information.
I see none.
Very good. Thank you. Cheryl is absolutely correct. We've been monitoring weather forecasts for some time. It simply amazes me how meteorologists are able to forecast an event like this when the systems are literally on the other side of the planet. And the forecasting has been excellent. The models that they use have all aligned. And we find ourselves at this moment in time under a winter storm warning for Washtenaw County. This event will begin this evening as rain. As you came in for the meeting this afternoon, you found just wonderful sunshine and warming temperatures. And that will cause the event to be rain on the front end. One of the things that we've been concerned about in preparation for this storm is any snow or ice cover on our hundreds of miles of gravel road throughout the county. And our district crews have been working very hard over the last few days, and including today, scraping those gravel roads to expose the surface aggregate and get any snow and ice off of those roadways before the rain hits. The ground is very cold, and rain on any snow or ice on those gravel roads would turn into very difficult conditions indeed. So I'm proud to report that our district crews have made tremendous headway in preparing those miles of county roadway for the upcoming event. Late tonight, the rain will transition to snow. It will be wet snow. Snow rates will be anywhere from 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch an hour. There may be some periods where it'll be as high as 1 inch an hour. And that will continue until tomorrow evening. Then we'll get a lull in the action and another round, a round 2 of snow, which will be more normal, drier, finer snow, similar snow rates, and the temperatures will be decreasing and wind speeds will be increasing. So the second round and Thursday is where we are likely to see some blowing and drifting and icing conditions. So what is our game plan? Our game plan has been in preparation for several days. We have gotten the equipment ready. We have adequate material and fuels on hand. Staff are prepped and ready to go for this event. We will have our night patrol, which is funded by MDOT, online for the regular shift overnight. They start at 8 p.m. and they will be attending to the state trunk line highways overnight. And then all of our other crews are pre-scheduled to begin work at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. And they will work a double shift, 16 hours. They'll go from 4 in the morning until 8 p.m., possibly 8:30 p.m. And then we'll send them home for some much needed rest. Night patrol will take over tomorrow night into Thursday morning. And everybody will be pre-scheduled again for a double shift for Thursday, starting at 4 a.m. It's likely that we'll have a pre-schedule and early call in for Friday as the storm ends. And throughout this whole thing, I want to be clear, our focus will be on the major road system, the state trunk line highways and our county paid primaries. We will not be working on gravel roads or subdivision roads. We will not get to those until probably later Friday. And considering the amount of snow, which is currently forecasted, total snowfall accumulations 11 to 15 inches, we'll most likely be working on Saturday, even Sunday, as part of our final restoration and cleanup. So I assure the board, staff is ready, the equipment is ready, and we have been communicating our plan to our stakeholders within Washtenaw County, including our Emergency Operations Center leadership, Metro Dispatch, all of our school districts through Naomi Norman, our WISD superintendent. She's helping disseminate our plan to the county or to the school districts. I've also been communicating with all our neighboring road commissions just so we have situational awareness within the region. And if any localized emergencies occur during our winter maintenance operations, we will adapt to that and do our very best to support our area emergency responders. With that, I open it up for any questions.
Commissioner Yamas.
Seeing how I'm new to this, it was good to hear that you're in contact with other road commissions. Do you normally coordinate so as portions of the highways that we're responsible for that others, do you share schedules? So they kind of coordinate, because the comment I always get is, how come I hit Washtenaw County and then I hit another county and there's nothing done, or, you know, people experience that traveling across highways and even say US 12.
We have shared our schedule, our program for the next 3 days with all of our neighboring road commissions and the Michigan Department of Transportation, remembering that MDOT maintains the trunk lines in Lenawee and in Livingston County. And then the other road commissions are performing that as contract counties as we do. Monroe County as well would be part of that. So yes, we have shared our schedule. We will keep them updated if we have any substantive changes to our program. It is their resources compared to our resources differ. The timing that they may be at our boundary could be different than the timing that our drivers and operators are there. So there's inherently some differences, but overall we attempt to coordinate at those boundaries so that we have as smooth a transition as possible. What I can assure you is all road agencies, including our cities and villages, will be working throughout this event.
Thank you, thank you. I think the public does not understand that we're not in charge of everything, so I think this is good to kind of advertise and let people know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, thank you, Jim, appreciate it. And Commissioner Shink also said thank you in advance to you and all of your staff. I know in talking to several of them, they are quite excited for this event. So it's actually kind of fun to see that enthusiasm. It truly is. So that we intend for it to be successful for all involved. So,
Cheryl, may I add one additional point?
of course.
Thank you. We do have a number of new hires that don't have the years of experience that some of our senior drivers and operators have. We welcome these opportunities. They are learning opportunities. The experience that's gained, the knowledge that's gained in going through winter storm events like this is invaluable. We assure all of our employees that it will happen again. It's likely that it will happen at even a greater severity than what is forecasted over the next 72 hours. And we take these as learning experiences. So the staff are excited and energized, and they're ready to bring the equipment to bear to do their very best to keep the major road system open throughout this event. There may reach a point, commissioners, where emergency operations and collaboration with the road commission and state police strongly discourage motorists from traveling, but we still have an obligation to maintain these roads, these major roads, especially for emergency response throughout this storm event. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. All right, next up on the agenda is Dan Ackerman, Director of Finance and IT. I know Dan and his staff just started our audit yesterday, so they are sort of in the throes of everything right now as well. So Dan?
Thank you, Cheryl, and good afternoon, board. I'd like to start with some really good news. If you can go to the last page of your board packet. Michigan Transportation Funds for December, we know what the amount is, and it was actually 30% higher than 2020. So a bit of a surprise, although we kind of knew it was going to be higher. We did actually receive a communication from the state of Michigan, and I like that they're doing this because, you know, to just say people are driving more or less, there's got to be more to it, right? So what contributed to that was there's about $16 million in undistributed Michigan transportation funds from previous months. And I want to say it was maybe mobile gas stations underreported some of their information. So I believe that's part of that 16 million. And then there's 49 million from the recreational marijuana tax that's also contributing to that. Regardless of where it's coming from, certainly we'll take that increase. So then overall, we received about $1 million more than we had budgeted for Michigan transportation funds for 2021. Certainly that seems like a lot. It's actually only about 3% over, but that certainly will contribute to our final numbers for year end 2021. And as Cheryl mentioned, we're in day 2 of the audit. So we're still working on finalizing the numbers, and of course the auditor's auditing them. But because of the Michigan transportation funds, the $1 million increase, some of our other numbers are coming in a little bit better than budgeted. So I fully expect to be able to add back to our fund balance, or actually reduce the amount of deficit spending that the board approved at the end of 2021. But at this time, I don't feel comfortable, speculating. We want to wait till we get through our audit and so on. But it does appear that our financial situation in 2021 will be better than budgeted, as is typical for the last few years. Some of that also may involve carryover funds. There was some equipment we had budgeted for in 2021 that we didn't receive until 22. So we want to make sure that we carry over any of those funds, again, that we had budgeted from the previous year into 2020. And that would be in the first quarter that we would add that back. And as far as IT, again, want to compliment Chris and Josh and Emily. I think, the solution we have now for our hybrid boardroom meetings works great. But we are excited about all the audiovisual improvements. There's been some electrical work that's been done. The installation for the boardroom is scheduled for February 8th, and the assembly room, it's starting on February 4th. There is one component we're waiting for, and we hope to receive that by February 18th. We've been experiencing some supply chain issues as the rest of the world. The goal is to hopefully be ready by March 1st to be able to utilize the new technology for our hybrid board meeting on that day. Also, our Microsoft Teams phone system, our testers is going well. We're going into, I believe, phase 4. Most of the transitions have been pretty smooth. We've been getting some great feedback from our testers. And actually, I've been hearing from others that are not testers that would really like to go to the Teams phone system. And I think that's neat when we can provide some technology that others are anxious to be able to utilize. So so far that project's been going great. And that's all my report I have for my report. Is there any questions?
Commissioner Green.
Oh, thank you. Then I have just one question. How much do you think the recreational marijuana tax have impacted MTF funds?
Ooh, that's a great question. So overall, it's about 49 million, and I believe they, they put it through the formula. And Cheryl, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe, and I hate to even speculate, but maybe about half a million.
Yeah, I would say that's about right, because just rule of thumb, we are about 1%. So
yeah, just using that, Commissioner Green, we've thrown those estimates out before. And if you'd like, I can contact someone within the state of Michigan to see if they can give us a more accurate number, but I would say about $500,000.
$500,000.
$500,000, right, because
Yes.
typically, just rule of thumb, very rough rule of thumb, when it goes through formula, we end up with about 1%.
Mm-hmm.
So 49 million, 1% would be $500,000.
Yeah.
Very much.
Mm-hmm.
Instead.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, we have Matt. I know the engineering department is fast and furious behind the scenes, trying to get everything ready for this upcoming construction season and even 2023 projects.
Good afternoon, board. Yes, Cheryl, we are getting ready as are most folks looking forward to the springtime and summer for construction season. The bulk of the organization obviously focuses winter maintenance right now, but essentially a lot of our projects have environmental restrictions like tree removal must be done by March 31st. So now that we're in February, that's 2 months away. And so on the agenda this afternoon, you approved tree removal for one of our larger projects, the Pontiac Trail and North Territorial project. So those notices have gone out to property owners, and also our project website has been updated. So we're engaged. We're getting our communication out, working with Emily, and then also we're looking to schedule our public engagement, public meetings for other projects as well. So you'll start to see those be published in addition to just regular project updates. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions about the upcoming construction season.
Matt, are these informational sessions or project update sessions going to be virtual or in person or some combination thereof, just so the public knows what to expect?
Sure. Typically, we're doing Teams or Zoom meetings for our informational meetings. It just depends. Another specific example, we're doing a special assessment district for York Timber Ridge. That was on the agenda today as well. That one's going to be in person, but hybrid. So it just depends on what type of meeting it is. But in general, for public information meetings, we've found the virtual meetings to be very successful. Allow folks to, on their lunch hour, tune in, and then also they're recorded. So the recording gets posted to the project page. If people missed it, they can revisit it if they choose.
That's great. And as I understand it, Open Meetings Act allows these kinds of sessions to be held virtually because there are no decisions by the elected or appointed bodies.
That is correct. These are just information sharing meetings.
Any other questions from Matt?
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay. That's it for staff, unless you have any further questions.
Anything else for Cheryl?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Cheryl. The next item on our agenda is a closed session, and I would appreciate a motion to enter into closed session under Section 8D of the Open Meetings Act to consider an inquiry to purchase property in Scio Township.
So moved.
Support. Thank you. Aaron, if you would call the roll, please.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. Aaron, Emily, if you would please describe what's next now.
Yes, yep. So for virtual participants, if you are not a road commissioner or a designated staff member, I'll now move you to the virtual waiting room. If you'd like to be returned to the open session of the meeting once we've completed the closed session, please remain in the waiting room. I will readmit you once the closed session has been completed. For in-person attendees, please exit the boardroom unless you're a designated staff member or commissioner. You're welcome to wait in the lobby until the closed session has been completed.
All right, at this time, may I have a motion to approve the purchase of property in Scio Township? The motion is written for us, if someone would care to read that. Mr. Fuller.
That upon the recommendation of the Director of Operations and the concurrence of the Managing Director, the board hereby approves the acquisition of a 0.98 acre parcel of property commonly referred to as vacant I-94 west of Yard 1. being a parcel of property located in section 21 of Scio Township with a corresponding tax identification number of H082100-002 in the amount of $5,000 pending favorable review and acceptance by the appropriate staff of the Phase 1 environmental assessment.
Second.
Thank you. Moved and supported. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
We have unanimously approved purchase of the property in Scio Township as described. Please note that on February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, that at 9 a.m. we will convene a working session followed at 1:00 p.m. by a regular board meeting. The virtual chat sessions that occur every Wednesday from noon to 1 p.m. Next one is tomorrow. Commissioner Joanne McCullum will be staffing that chat session. And on February 9th, Commissioner Barb Fuller will be the commissioner on staff for that session. Having no further business to come before this board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support. Any discussion? Hearing none. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Doug Fuller,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCullum,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. By unanimous vote, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.